My family has a suit made from human skin. Written and narrated by Lady Spookaria, and featuring Mad Chatter.
My family has always had an interest in history. We have our family coat of arms on the wall, genealogy records. We boast about a connection to a particularly famed ancestor or another. We own a variety of other historical items, weapons, antiquities, and that sort of thing. What isn't publicly known is that we have a suit made from human skin. Human leather has been used throughout history to create books, and not just creepy murderers making lampshades. It is kept deep in the basement, behind a hidden wall for extra security, and proudly hung up. It scared me when I was a child. I came down looking for my mum when I saw her oiling up the skin to keep it supple. I screamed, ran to my room, and hid under the bed for an hour before my mom came in to speak with me. So why do we have this sort of item in our possession? A lot of mothers will turn into Karens to demonstrate their frustrations at whatever is annoying them, or they'll just run straight to Facebook. I'll just tell you. My mother was at the local grocery store doing a weekly shopping trip. The trolley was piled high with items, and all she needed was that perfect patch of lychees. My mother was a foodie, and only ever wanted the best. There was a single pack left, and as her hand reached out to grab it, another woman did so at the same time. It was like a slow-motion movie, and unfortunately, my mother was too slow. She missed it, and the other woman gave her a smug look and a rather condescending apology. I gulped as I stood by the trolley. This wasn't the first time I'd seen it. When we got home, my mother began to rage. She threw the rest of the ingredients onto the floor, knocked over the plates, and told everyone that she wasn't cooking dinner. As you can probably guess, she had a range of anger issues, and my dad had always turned a blind eye to it. She stormed downwards into the basement and took out the human skin. My normally ordered and dignified mother turned into a maniac. She ripped off her clothing, and while mumbling under her breath, she slid into the multicolored human skin.
I'll do anything.
There was a twisted look in her eye as her hands ran over the skin. There were still small hairs and freckles sticking out of it. The innate pleasure of knowing what was going to come. She lit the candles in front of the twisted altar on the table, the stone tab forever tainted with blood. Her hands outstretched upwards towards the grim idol, a beast of fang and claws. It stared down at her, and I always felt like I was being watched when I was down there.
It's always been yours. I'll do anything. I'll give you everything I have. Everything I give you, everything I have. I'll give you everything.
My mother began to moan, muttering under her breath as her body rocked and swayed. I watched from the doorway, hidden, and stared in disgust at her. Suddenly, all the movement ceased. She froze in place, jerked backwards as though she'd been struck by some unseen force, and slowly turned her head to look at me. There were tears down her cheeks, and a bitter look of resentment in them. One, even through all the rages and fits I had seen her in. I had never witnessed it before. With a single finger, she gestured for me to approach, and I hid behind the door. It was useless.
Come on! Do not keep him waiting for you!
She commanded sharply. Me? I questioned. The idol had never expressed any interest in me before, and I was grateful for that. My mother exhaled sharply, irritated, and aggressively gestured for me to approach.
Yes, you.
She spat bitterly. I crept towards her, but my eyes remained on the idol. The eyes were completely black, dead. They reminded me of a shark's eyes. and I stepped away from her. I saw a knife in her hand. The blade looked like it had never been cleaned, a jagged and nearly blunt knife that should have been discarded long ago. Her hand reached up to me.
Give me your hand.
She demanded.
Give me your hand.
I held my hands together and shook my head to decline. My mother reached up and grabbed it while muttering under her breath.
It should have been me doing this. Why did he choose you? Why does he favor you when I have given him everything?
The mutters continued and no longer made any sense. Who wants me? What is happening? She didn't answer me. One hand lifted the knife, up and ready. The palm of my hand tingled, as I knew what would come, and instinctively began to pull my hand away from her.
This is the greatest gift in the world, and you dare reject it.
She hissed and spat up at me. The goopy liquid clung to my hair and cheek. I could feel it dribbling downwards. It was as though time stood still. Even through all my mother's rages, demands, and quirks, I wanted to be the best possible son and make sure she would be safe. I wanted to make her happy, but this was the last straw. I brought my hand back and slapped her hard across the face. She fell to the floor, her hand on her cheek, as she gazed up at me in horror that I fought back and yanked the knife out of her hand. Under the idol's watchful eye, I took the knife and drove it into her neck, then in her chest, her shoulder when she tried to fight me off, and the injuries were beginning to take their toll. I was coated in her hot, sticky blood, and I felt a sense of euphoria, completely unlike anything I have ever felt before. I kept stabbing, blindly and wildly, with a madman's grin. Finally, she fell to the floor. Her body twitched and continued to bleed out as I stared down at the deed I had committed. I had murdered my mother. I blinked until I heard the words in my ears.
Well done. I knew you had it in you.
The voice came from inside my head, raspy and beast-like. I knew it came from the idol, and I felt compelled to obey. I looked at the bloodied knife, and then down at the corpse of my mother. I knew what I was supposed to do without being told. It didn't take long until I finished my work. And now, we have 2 suits of human skin.
I hope you enjoyed this story. Please absolutely do yourself a favor and check out my guest, Mad Chatter. He did an amazing job. And make sure you check out his ASMR channel as well. All of his links are in the description below. This video was made with the support of my incredible Patreons and channel members. If you would like to support me this way, my links are available in the description below. I also have some merch available as well if you'd like to pick something up. All your support is greatly appreciated. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit that little bell too. Stay safe, my little spooklings. And remember, I'll be watching you.